you take your fingernail off of your finger, like it's going to be tender, but eventually you'll toughen up.
I don't want to see a turtle without a shell. He would look so sad and
Nothing to hide,
not right.
hide
Yeah,
into. But I think a snail could, because a crab can,
certain crabs can.
like hermit crabs.
Yeah, but they don't automatically have a home. They don't grow a home and then switch home. They just move from home to home.
Well, where do they find the shells?
In the bottom of the sea,
But a shell had to have had something living in it at one
there
point.
was a snail. Now it's been eaten. Now there's a shell. Crab's going to take it.
Whoa, we're talking
Here's a
very
can.
different sizes here, because you're saying there's a snail the same size as a crab.
There are big snails in the sea.
But some of these shells aren't snail shells.
Well, some of them are tomato cans.
How did
Or like a conch shell.
But doesn't every shell need to have been born?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know, man. I don't know. Like a conch shell just doesn't grow on its own. There was a creature that grew and fed the growth of the shell.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. I don't know how that works.
I don't. The mysteries of the deep
Yeah,
is what this is.
it's true.
Either way, Sebastian knows those nasty little snails. Not meant for human consumption. Birds, maybe seagulls can eat that kind of thing, but we shouldn't.
I don't see why not. Just because it's a mollusk or whatever. I mean, there are all kinds of gross creatures. Like, what is a squid or an octopus? Those are weird creatures. I don't even know what's going on with them. We eat those. Octopuses, I think they have beaks.
Do they have beaks?
In cartoons, they have beaks.
I've definitely seen a cartoon where it had a beak, but I've never seen one in real life.
That's
or
true.
Animal
I've never
Planet.
seen. Even then, is their beak malleable like the rest of them? Like they can squeeze themselves into like a little jar or a bottle, but like, does their beak stay hard like a bird's beak, and so they're all squeezed into a jar except there's a beak sticking out because it can't fit?
Oh, that's terrifying. I don't know. I'm sure it's very hard. I'm sure it's as hard as a regular bird's beak, but terrifying. I don't want to be captured by a octopus or a squid and then be pecked to death.
Oh man, that sounds awful.
Yeah.
I feel like it would peck slowly though.
Yeah. I don't know. These I need to see these things in real life.
Yeah. Long story short, we're informed by cartoons far too much,
Yeah, like,
and not enough by real life.
yeah,
We
like,
don't know if snails have antennae or if octopuses really have beaks.
like their eyes aren't on their antennas, right? Like a racing snail. What was that?
Well, no, I believe they have both. They have like eyes on a long thing that can move around and look around, and then they also have antennae for feeling around.
So they have four things protruding
I think
from
they
them?
do.
But I've seen slugs. Where are the slugs' eyes?
Also on long things?
I think there's some without them.
Shoot. What do we know?
I know. I don't know.
Not much.
Everything I know about the deep is from SpongeBob SquarePants, and it's highly inaccurate.
That's true. Sponges, sea sponges, don't look anything like kitchen sponges.
No. Patrick's mouth should be in his the middle of his body,
Yeah, that's true. Wouldn't
And he
that be weird?
and he should crawl around like a faceplant. He should just be on the ground sucking up minerals.
Well, he kind of is when he's at home. He's just under a rock,
Yeah.
just kind of face down.
I don't know. Too bad it's not a, they eat burgers quite a bit.
Squidward doesn't look like a squid.
He does.
Looks more like an octopus.
I don't know.
They do eat a lot of
They eat
burgers.
a lot of burgers.
Yeah, I
There's
never
a whole
thought of that burger connection,
Krabby Patty. Probably crab cakes.
I suppose. But
But
they
do you
look like
think-
burgers.
Do you think they'd actually be crab cakes? Because the owner is a crab himself. So
That's
I don't
true.
think he'd be
I think it's
serving
just like Krusty Burgers aren't actually
Krusty
bits
the Clown
of Krusty the
burgers.
Clown, yeah.
Okay. I don't know. Mysteries of the deep still.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And hamburgers aren't actually ham.
crazy. Speaking of burgers. Speaking of burgers, though, we ordered those at the keg.
That's right. We ordered a couple burgers. I want to say $18 on the menu for a burger with your choice of side, fries, mashed potato, or baked potato. I went
Yeah.
for baked. Matthew, you got French fries.
Fries, yeah, you were surprised. You thought I would go right in for the mashed.
You are a mashed potato fiend. I don't think I know anyone who prepares and likes mashed potatoes as much as you do.
I've slowed down a lot
Yeah?
on the mashed potato intake.
Why?
In
What
recent
happened?
years.
What happened?
Nothing happened. It's just I used to make these when I lived when I kept more reasonable, well, no, when I kept less reasonable hours, I would just make mashed potatoes probably 3 in the morning. Now it's a little harder to do. Been busier, harder to make mashed potatoes.
At 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
all
the
right.
time when potatoes taste best. No one's there to judge you for eating like 10 potatoes.
That's it.
And I feel like when you mash things, you can eat as much as you want.
I kind of feel the same way. Well, not entirely, but yes, it just seems like you aren't like, well, I'm eating 10 potatoes. It's just like more.
Yeah.
It's just a little more.
Exactly. There's no way to gauge it. I think we had this discussion once very early on in our podcasting days, when I talked about eggs and how many eggs I could eat.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you fry an egg, 2, 3, 4 if you're feeling real like gluttonous.
Mm-hmm.
But when I scramble eggs, 6 is the minimum.
Oh my goodness, Matthew! What?
Otherwise,
How?
there's no point. It's like you got to scrambled eggs.
Just the other day, I made a little 3-egg omelet, and I was real. This may have been the nicest omelet I ever made. It was so fluffy and nice. Mm-hmm. 3-egg omelet seemed perfect.
3-egg omelet. That's crazy to me.
How so?
You need 6, minimum 6. That's the rule.
How big are your omelets? I mean, my mother at Easter makes like 56 eggs omelets.
That can serve probably like 8 people.
It does, and then there's more. It's so much omelet. It's so thick. It's like a Chicago-style pizza, but an omelet.
Sounds delicious.
And it is full of little Italian sausages and stuff. It's fantastic, but it takes hours to cook.
Yeah. Well, still, I don't know how to get back to the burgers.
God damn it! We need to get the food out here.
Yeah. Okay, hold on.
Oh,
Like,
my sternum cracked.
but sometimes I like, at a restaurant, you get a burger, you get fries. It's just it makes a little more sense because you don't want to have a side being your mashed potatoes. Plus, with French fries, I can stick it on my fork and I can point and gesture with a bit of food on the end of the tip of my fork.
That's true. It's fun to make a point with a bit of food at the tip of your fork. I actually did at one point with my whole burger today. I was hoping it would like flop around a little bit.
Yeah.
Because then that's some good communication. It really makes the point when the food flops around.
It does. Do you know who's a fantastic actor?
Robert De Niro.
Johnny Depp. And I recently saw a movie with him, Sebastien.
Uh-huh.
And for some reason, and I don't know why, it's just this is what made me realize it. He's sitting down and he's eating a little piece of cake.
Okay.
I must have seen this scene 4 or 5 times.
What movie is this?
Some murder movie, Murder on the Orient Express.
Oh,
yeah,
I want to see
Agatha
that.
Christie film.
Well,
she directed it.
that's right.
Yeah, no, he's just sitting. It's a 5-minute scene. He's just sitting down, talking, and eating a piece of cake. And I was like,
Does he have some milk?
He doesn't. He doesn't even have the milk. He just has a piece of cake. And I feel like the way he's eating that, it's just. I was just studying it. I was like, if I was in school and in an acting class, that I would take that as my monologue and I would study it and I would figure out exactly all of his movements because I've never seen someone be so believable eating a piece of cake.
What do you mean by that? I mean, Johnny Depp, very very talented actor. He's been around for a while. He's done many films, cake related and not. He was Willy Wonka. I guess that's kind of cakey. Why is this cake scene so fascinating to you?
I don't know. It just really struck a chord with me. This food acting. I think I don't know if it's a thing or if some actors need it.
I think you need to start paying more attention to the work of Robert De Niro and all of his food acting.
He does a lot of food acting.
So much sawing into a steak, pointing with a bit of steak at the end of his fork. That's some good food acting.
I think the thing about food acting is it just makes you look like you're not even trying, and then that because it's like, well, he's not trying to eat.
He's not trying to act. He's busy eating.
He's not trying. Yeah, you're interrupting a man in the middle of a little piece of cake or a piece of steak or whatever he's eating. And then when he picks up a little potato or a hunk of meat on the end of the fork and starts, gesturing towards the person he's speaking with, you're like, he is now incorporating the food into his acting, and it is coming across flawlessly.
That's the next level acting.
Next level acting through all of his films, Sebastien.
Would you appreciate if in 2018 during award season you saw a category for best food acting in a major motion picture?
I think so, but I think if you draw too much attention to it, like we are right now, it might take away from it. But I just think it's such an art, such a skill, because you got to know, like, when do you keep your mouth closed? When do you open your mouth? When is what you have to say so important that you will speak with your mouth full?
That's a good point. I can imagine. I can't think of a particular scene, but I can imagine a scene with some sort of goon or a lackey eating a big sub sandwich and talking with sub sandwich in his mouth.
Yeah, it adds something.
Gosh, I just ate, and all these foods I'm talking about are making me hungry again. I want chocolate cake. I want a big sub sandwich.
Yeah. And did you notice when we were eating this burger that I was doing a little bit of food acting myself?
Aside from pointing with French fries?
Yeah. I was just carrying on conversations with you while I was eating. and I think I was doing a pretty good job.
Like millions of people do every day.
Yeah, but once you realize that what you're doing is acting, you're food acting, first of all, it gets very difficult.
Had you prepared a monologue that I did not realize?
I was winging it. I was
improv acting.
Yeah. It's like I was on Whose Line Is It Anyway?
with food.
Yeah, and it wasn't necessarily funny stuff. It was just, am I believable as a human being who is sitting down in front of other human being eating a burger?
You did an excellent job.
Yeah, I think I did pretty great, and I learned from Johnny Depp. I think if anybody out there wants to see a spectacular film, a couple minutes of a film, go and watch Murder on the Orient Express.
Keep your eyes closed for the first hour, but then a piece of cake comes in.
Yeah, when the cake comes, that's when you know you got to really pay attention. And I got to watch that a few more times. I really got to get it down. But I don't know. I don't know what it is about food acting.
Now,
Go ahead.
Matthew, you've been... I don't know if this is the type of thing that's fascinating you lately, because you've been lacking sleep lately.
Maybe that's it.
You got over a cold. You seem to sleep like maybe 3-4 hours a night. You're doing double duty. You've got a school in the day, work at night. You're the host of like 3 or 4 different podcasts. You're stretching yourself too thin, Matthew. I don't understand how you motivate yourself when you wake up in the morning. What gets you going? What keeps you going?
Not much.
You wake up and, I can imagine you also being one of these people who wakes up and has one of these, what are they called? These machines, like at the beginning of
the Rube Goldberg machine.
Rube Goldberg?
Rube
Goldberg machine?
Yeah.
Where you wake up and you hit your alarm, and that sets off a long chain reaction where balls are rolling into levers that are hitting things and activating a toaster, and like getting eggs dropped into a frying pan, and like coffee starts brewing, and you wake up when the bacon is almost ready.
Yeah. From Pee-wee's, the Pee-wee movie.
Is that one from Pee-wee or from
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids?
I think it's in
both. I think Pee-wee's is a little more extravagant, a little more nonsensical. I don't really understand what his did. I think it poured some cereal, but it just didn't work very well.
Okay.
No, I need something, because breakfast, to me, I don't eat breakfast when I wake up. I don't eat breakfast generally. I eat it very rarely.
I love breakfast for dinner. That's probably my favorite time to have breakfast.
To me, that was just like a poor man's food.
Breakfast for dinner?
Yeah, sometimes I'd get home, my mom was like, we're having breakfast for dinner. And I'm like, I think we've had this discussion once too, but I couldn't condone it. But I would need something that wakes me up, like an electric shock or some Rube Goldberg thing to just dump
shock
water
you.
on me.
Yeah, okay.
I used to, when I was younger, I'd have to actually hide. I'd set my alarm. It was a huge stereo system with the volume up all the way. But I would wake up in my sleep and turn the volume down beforehand. So I had to start hiding the volume knob on myself.
What does that mean?
I would go to sleep, I'd remove the knob, and I'd tell my mother, like, go put this somewhere.
What?
But don't tell me where until I wake up.
Oh my goodness!
And then you'll obviously be upset.
Put it in like a drawer across the room, so you'd have to get up, get it out of the drawer, and put it in.
I could do all of that, but eventually my brain would start doing things while I was asleep, and I would just start.
Oh boy.
Changing, and I would never wake up, and that's a problem now, having trouble waking up. But the hardest thing is once I am woken up, to stay motivated to get out of bed. And that's when I decided I need to start waking up like I would imagine Ric Flair would wake up.
What does that mean? like a 70-something-year-old man? You